Thanks for taking the time to tune into this video on data protection. This training is designed for our affiliated bodies. My name is Conor Fadian and I'm the National Governance Officer with Badminton Ireland. So the objectives of this presentation is to go through a bit of the background to GDPR, some of the legal principles, key terms of GDPR, and I suppose the practical steps to being GDPR compliant within your club, and also just reviewing what club practices will look like. In terms of a background to GDPR, I suppose the whole idea of data protection is that it has been around for quite a while, 32 years now at this stage, with the Data Protection Act, and there is more and more things coming down the line in this area. So it's just making sure that we're aware of these things and that it's not brand new. It's a case of being sensible in how we manage people's information. So the GDPR principles, as you can see here, it's about fair and transparent and lawful processing, a purpose limitation so that we're only taking the information that is required, and obviously that there is a purpose for it. The minimization of processing is again minimizing what we're taking. Are we taking only the key information that needs to be taken from our members to comply with what we are looking for? So do we need their name? Yes. Do we need their date of birth? Yes. Do we need their email address? Yes, if we're going to communicate with them. So it's just getting that consent for that. In terms of data accuracy and data quality, again, it's making sure that the information that we're getting from our members is correct. So reviewing what membership details we have, and again, in light of the current situation with COVID, it's probably more important than ever that mobile phone numbers are accurate for our members. In terms of retention and storage limitation, obviously that we're not holding on to information forever, that there is a limit to how long we retain that information for. So that's why we'll be looking at in terms of making sure at the end of a season that any information we have is wiped if they are not renewing their membership. In terms of security and confidentiality, again, using the BI membership system is the best way to make sure that people's information is accurately stored, and obviously access rights can be granted to that for the officers within the club that need to access that information. And liability and accountability, obviously there's onuses on us as the data controller and you as the data processor in terms of how we account for the implementation of data protection procedures. So badminton clubs must act by gaining informed consent to process their members' data. So that's merely informing members where the data is stored, how long is it for, and who has access to it. So we have data protection policies in place. BI, okay, must be able to store the data securely, so ensuring that only the relevant persons have access to it. So again, utilizing the membership system is the best way to do this. Obviously, it's important that if there is any breaches of data, so if it's lost or stolen or manipulated in some form, that this is reported to BI, and you can be liable for fines or sanctions under GDPR. I suppose it's well publicized at this stage that it can be quite scary when you look in terms of how information can go missing, etc. So we just have to be very mindful that, look, we have a responsibility both as a processor, as a controller, to look after our members. So in terms of a data protection checklist for our affiliated bodies, it's important to review what our current practices are, making sure that the information for our members is accurate, reviewing also the BI policies just to see what's in place there and making sure that you're abiding by those. They are available on the BI website. Again, reviewing who has access to members' information through the BI website. Details of who has access can be checked with Lauren. Lauren, who is our membership officer in Badminton Ireland. In terms of security, obviously making sure that all members' details are securely implemented and inputted into the BI membership system. In the case of a data breach, it's a case of making sure that in the event of a data breach, what are you going to do? So it's important that you get in contact with Badminton Ireland. We have a data breach report form available where the BI policies relating to GDPR are. So it'd be worthwhile just to familiarise yourself with that in the event that it would happen, that you'd be able to get in contact with us fairly quickly. And in terms of third parties, obviously it's a case of making sure that your membership information is securely stored and that you're not passing on information in an unethical manner without getting prior consent. So in terms of roles and responsibilities, we have the data controller who looks after the secure storage of information. Policies and procedures are in place then to protect members' rights. It's the data controller's responsibility to notify the Data Protection Commission in the case of a data breach. Also, they must have the ability to provide access to members of their data, which we can do through the BI membership system, and ensure members' data is portable. So again, making sure that members' information is available to be portable in electronic form where possible. In terms of the data processor, they must gather the subject data. The individuals, I suppose, is better than data subject. The affiliated member, the person who wants to become that member, that their data can be gathered and with their consent, that it's uploaded to a secure location. Any hard copies or duplicate data must be destroyed. And again, it's adherent to the GDPR principles, as we covered in one of the earlier slides. In terms of the data subject, the individual member, it's a case of providing correct data so that the membership can be processed. So they have to provide us with the correct details and provide their consent to processing of their data, and again making sure that they have access to that data as well. In terms of the conditions relating to the lawful processing, it's about consent, the performance of a contract, a legal obligation, it's in their vital interest, it's in the public interest and legitimate interest, and they're the conditions that are set out in order for us to rely on fair and lawful processing of their data. Now, if it was a case that we were processing more sensitive data, okay, such as medical data, for example, which would probably be the most likely one out of the ones listed here, I can't see a reason why we'd be looking for a racial or ethnic origin or political opinions, religious or philosophical beliefs, or trade union membership. But certainly within the case of mental mental health or physical health, or in terms of sexual orientation of a person, you know, some of those I don't believe clubs will be needing to obtain, particularly in terms of affiliating a person to Badminton Ireland. However, certainly it would be in the vital interests of a person, certainly in terms of their mental or physical health, to inform us if they have a medical condition which could really affect their participation in badminton or those of others. So again, it's in the vital interests of the data subject in that particular case. And again, you're looking to obtain it in such a manner that the details of that medical data will be only made known to those who ultimately need to know. So if there is a coach in the club and a person, for example, has diabetes or something, obviously, which is in the vital interest of that data subject or of that person to make the coach aware that, look, they have this condition, and it could lead to a situation where they need to know that in order to save their life. So again, that's really the key point there in terms of the special category of data, or sensitive data as is sometimes referred to in GDPR. In terms of accessing data, it's a case of following a guideline here where this is just an outline really of how the whole process would seem to go in terms of membership data. So you have your member who pays a fee to the club and affiliates. So from there then, their membership form with consent, the details there are then entered into the BI system. Okay. From there then, Obviously, they go into the membership system and they're able to be accessed by club, branch, county or league. And also, you can see here with the black box that it's a case that access rights can be granted. So in the case of juveniles, obviously you'd want your safeguarding officer to be able to access your juvenile members' information in terms of parents, etc., or coaches if there was a case of trainings coming up. And again, in terms of the hard copy data, it's important once the details are entered into the BI system that hard copy data is destroyed. Okay, so as well as that, once the information does go into the BI membership system, the information is then pseudonymized. So you are provided with a BI number. So that number has very little relevance to a person's personal information. It's just that it's linked to their name. So where possible, we should be looking to utilize that while we currently have it. So just to give you a brief example of a case study there a number of years ago where AIB, they had 550 customers approximately affected due to a number of case files going missing. And there was literally a lot of personal information that was mislaid at the time, and it resulted in a €2.3 million fine by the Data Protection Commission. And I suppose Simon McGarry, he'd be one of the leading experts in terms of GDPR. That's a quote from him regarding this particular case. And I suppose at the time, it was relating to information on accounts and banking information. So it's not just anyone that can. Big organizations obviously can have the same issues. So it's just for us as an organization within our clubs, within our branches, within our county associations, within our leagues, and within Badminton Ireland itself, that we manage personal information and sensitive and special categories of information. We manage it as best as we can, and we do it in the best interests of our members. So in terms of a summary, really the three take-home messages would be: it's important that we manage data appropriately, we abide by the existing policies that we have, and if you're unsure and if you have a query on data protection or GDPR, that you get in touch with Badminton Ireland, liaise with us, and we'll work out exactly how we can manage that particular issue that you may be having, or if there's something that's not clear.